It's day one of main camp. 53 players in total look to crack the roster.
How are ya?
Coach Gary Van Herway gives one last pep talk before Team Green hits the ice.
Obviously, you know who I am, one of the coaches, Gary Van Herway. You've driven a long ways, you've made a big commitment. This time of the year, anybody that's in the junior A camp that's not here to play on a hockey team, you're here for the wrong reasons. We're not going to come in between periods, in between games, and tell you we need more intensity, we need more intensity. We'll find 22 guys that have enough intensity, enough gumption, enough balls that want to play the game. They'll be here. So find a way to energize yourself. Compete, leave it on the ice.
Outside of forwards, the Bobcats are looking for goaltending. Devin Green is one of 7 in camp. Last season, he lost the starting job, opening the door for Chris Todd.
The pressure is there. I'm just trying to not let it get to me, like I said. It's a lot of, especially goaltending, it's a lot of a mental game. It's not so much the ability to stop the puck, but I don't know, I know my dad always used to tell me when I was younger, it's 90% mental, 10% skill. If you're not mentally there, you'll be fighting the puck all night.
The pressure can be a burden for some. Green fully understands what could happen if he doesn't perform.
We're here, we got to prove ourselves so we don't get dealt, or what happens, happens. I mean, it's how it is. Just going, playing my game, doing what I can, know what I know. I know what I can do, and I know I can prove myself and be that guy. It's just taking it one step at a time.
As the battles continue, the coaches and scouts are spread apart. Gord Thibodeau spends his time at the opposite end of everyone else, a way to gain a better perspective and keep his thoughts independent.
I find sometimes when you get in a group, 2 or 3 guys talk, and maybe if a coach says, geez, I really like this kid skating, it tends to stick in the back of the minds of the scouts, and maybe they're afraid to criticize a little bit because they know you like the kid. I'll tell you what, there's something there.
You say 98?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I love the way he plays.
Yeah.
He's smart. If I'm not mistaken, he produced at the midget level. I like him. We want everyone to have their opinion, scouts or coaches, everyone to state their opinion before we make those decisions. That information is key.
Puck's in traffic in the corner. They dig it out, and the partner throws it to him. And instead of going around, he throws it right back. At least 4 times, threw it right back, and his decision-making was terrible.
Maybe his partner called for it.
I think he's
The 4 guys around him?
It's just kind of a technique I like to use. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means it encourages a bit more individual thoughts and values on the players.
As the first night ends, the coaches and scouts meet up in the war room, notes in hand, giving their assessment on who they think should be in the top 40.
Joseph Check.
Yes.
Drew.
Yep. What about the top? The best guy on the ice, I thought.
I honestly didn't see any of him until about the last half of the last game.
That's what
Then you missed him knock down 4 guys in the first game.
Yeah. But that
He drilled 4 guys.
He can. He did with his hand.
Every chance he got, he hits good enough,
Yep.
good enough to go over.
Oh, yeah.
I think so. No, we've been doing this long enough that whoever is a star the first day typically doesn't mean they carry forward as stars in day 2, 3, and 4 as you move on. Everybody, kind of has their moment to shine during camp. So it's like anything else. You don't want to get too high on guys. You don't want to get too low on guys because one session can change things. So, you preach patience. It's going to take some of these kids a little while to get used to junior hockey, to get used to the speed, the physicality. Typically, they'll start slower, but by day 2 or 3, you'll start to see increases in their ability.
Well, there was a couple of chances where he had 3-on-2, and he tried to make a big saucer pass instead of making the little smart, easy, quick play to get a
He was
shot.
nowhere near tonight what we saw in Sherwood Park.
You know what?
He's a good skater.
For a kid like him, I really think that if he doesn't play with the right guys, he's not going to look good.
We'll never get the 40 at this
Well,
point.
Barry, I look at it and go, he's a 97 centerman who's not going to make our team. He's, you know what? He's going to be a good player.
Okay.
But
I agree.
Nope, fair enough.
it's hard because the scouts just want to identify the best players, and that's their job, to bring the best players they can find to camp. As coaches, as GM, especially in Gary's situation, your mind isn't just on the camp, it's on next year, it's on age group. Where does that kid fit? Next year, what are we going to have in terms of open roster spots? How many young players can we carry?
Each AJHL team can carry up to 2 16-year-olds, but at what position remains to be seen. Local boy Austin McGrath seems to have convinced some members in the war room to pencil him in.
His rebound control was very good. He was challenging. He was aggressive. He was confident.
I didn't think McGrath was any better than Vader.
Perfect.
I didn't think McGrath was any better than Vader. And if Vader ain't going, I don't see McGrath going at this point. I think he's a guy who's got to watch.
Personally, I would have signed McGrath today.
Is he going to play major junior, McGrath?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to be a legend.
That can have right now.
Yeah.
Is he a high pick?
Hey?
Is he a high pick? Third round? So, probably not going to see him anyway.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is we probably wouldn't see him.
Austin's 16 years old. He's a goaltender, so you know going in that your 16-year-old goaltender is, in all likelihood, not going to be the guy that's going to be carrying the mail a whole bunch, so he's going to be sitting on the bench. So you got to ask yourself, are we going to get him as much opportunity as he would even in midget AAA as a 16-year-old? He might be a starter and see more ice time. You also have to look at the long-term part of it. Is Austin a guy that in all likelihood may be here for 2 or 3 years? And to develop a goaltender that you know in all likelihood is moving on a year down the road is something that you've really got to put a lot of time and thought into, because if it's a forward and you have 12 of them and you lose one of them after a year, you still got a pretty high number that's coming back. You're not losing 50% of your forwards. If you lose that one goaltender that you've put that 1 year into, you're losing 50% of your goaltending. So all of that experience, if you're doing that on a pretty regular basis, you're going to have a tough time developing and having that goalie go-to guy you need 2 and 3 years down the road.